Dawn McGee here from Royal LePage Atlantic. Welcome to my market report for April 20th to 26th, 2020. First of all, I wanted to see if anybody saw my vlog last week, my blog, regarding how COVID-19 was expected to impact the housing market and the housing market recovery. I did a bunch of research, and there's a couple different things that support a V-shaped recovery, meaning as quickly as the market went down, we should expect it to come as quickly back up. So 4 of the top financial institutions, including Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, both state that they feel it's going to be a V-shaped recovery. Also, what backs this up is the fact that for a great number of pandemics, H1N1, Zika, SARS, those pandemics and outbreaks all saw a V-shaped recovery afterwards. So that's another good sign that we're expecting a quick recovery from this. I also did a short video on 5 factors that we are experiencing now that did not happen back in 2008 with the housing crash. So a lot of folks are expecting a big recession and talking about another housing crash, but there's a number of factors at play that show that we are not in the same position as we were back then. So check that video out as well. First off, I want to mention that my parameters for this report only gathered information from single family homes. I didn't take into account any condos or vacant land listings because I wanted to be able to compare different areas. So with Halifax having a lot of condo sales, those numbers would have skewed numbers from the Valley or the South Shore because they just don't have the same number of condo sales in those areas. So I just kept it to single family homes, and that way we can kind of compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges. Also in this video, I'll incorporate some graphs I did up. I took the data, broke it down week by week, and I went back to the beginning of March for most of my recording. So, and I put that in a graph form so that you could see visually what the trends are doing compared to area to area. So, for new listings for April 20th to 26th of this past week, there were 150 total new listings across Nova Scotia. 63 of those were in Halifax, 31 in the Annapolis Valley, and 14 on the South Shore. The only real area that showed an increase was the Annapolis Valley, and this could be due to the fact that it's posting time, and the area of CFB Greenwood probably experienced the greatest number of new listings due to that factor. So during the same week back in 2019, overall Nova Scotia saw a decrease of 65% with new listings, and the hardest hit was Halifax, where they saw a 74% decrease in new listings. Annapolis Valley only saw a 57% decrease in listings, and the South Shore saw a 66% decrease in new listings. We went into this pandemic with only 3 to 5 months worth of inventory across Nova Scotia, so we were technically in a seller's market and still are. So when these new listings come on the market, they are often selling fairly quickly because the buyer demands are still out there. Some fun things to note in this past week: we had 3 new listings that were priced over $1 million. There was one in Purcell's Cove that had the highest one. That went on the market at $2,490,000, so a nice little listing there. The highest in the Annapolis Valley was one in Centerville that was listed for $649,000. And then on the South Shore, there was another $1 million listing that was listed on Mason's Beach for $1,130,000. So currently, there are actually 91 homes, single-family homes, listed over the $1 million mark. 82 of those are listed in the 1 to 2 million range. There are 9 listed in the $2 to $3 million range, and then it skips up to 4 to 7 million. There are 8 properties listed in that price range. And then for the end all and be all, there's one listing in Nova Scotia currently sitting at $21 million. So lots of $1 million homes on the market if you're in that price range. For home sales, I've gathered two sets of numbers. One are confirmed sales, and those are sales where all the conditions have been met, but the closing date just hasn't come around. Sometimes these closing dates can be 30 days down the road, 60 days, 90 days. And then of course you have the closed sales where the money has changed hands and the deed has transferred over to the new owner. So I've gathered two sets of home sales because they kind of tell us two different things. As for closed sales, you'll see in the graphs, if you have a look afterwards, there was quite a drop April 6th to 12th that week, because that's where we had a lot of fallen sales, because 30 days prior to that was when the emergency measures were implemented. So you had a lot of people backing out of deals and a lot of fallen sales because finances have changed. So that's the impact from the 30 days prior to that. So there's quite a dip that second week of April. And then the third week of April, you saw it come back up again because those are the buyers that stuck with the deals. So you're kind of seeing the closings coming to fruition then. And then in this past week, you see it dip down again because we're seeing the impact of just the buyers and sellers that are kind of taking a step back. So that group of people, we're seeing the impact of that currently in this past week with a decline again in the number of closed sales. Next, looking at the confirmed sales, this is a good indicator as to what the market is actually doing, what the buyers are actually doing, because the confirmed sales are the ones where all the conditions are met. So that gives an accurate indication as to how many our buyers are out there right now. Because some closings won't happen for 30, 60, 90 days. So by looking at the confirmed sales, you can see what the buyers are actually doing right now. Across the board, confirmed sales have been up, except in the Annapolis Valley. So they're up from the previous week. So we're starting to see an incline happening. And not so much in the Annapolis Valley, but that could be because not necessarily lack of buyers, but lack of inventory. We have in CFP Greenwood, we have people putting their stuff on the market, but I believe a lot of the transfers and the relocation have been put on hold. So you don't necessarily have that mass of buyers coming to the CFP Greenwood area and across the valley. So in the Annapolis Valley was the only place where you did not see an increase in confirmed sales. The highest confirmed sale for this past week was one in Halifax, and that was a sale that went for $978,300. So that was out of Halifax. In the Annapolis Valley, we did have 4 good sales that went through, the highest of which was Alex Colville's house, sold again for $574,750, and then there were 2 other good price sales in Wolfville as well, and then the 4th one was in Windsor. At this point, home sale prices are still on the rise from 2019 prices, so we are still in a seller's market, and homes are still selling for more than they did last year. So that's it for now. I love talking real estate. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below. And be sure to like and subscribe so that you get all my content when it comes on. And I look forward to talking to you next week. Take care.